Freshman year. Honestly, from my perspective, I don't remember much of freshman year. I remember getting glasses. That was it.
I remember having a giant mushroom head hairdo. I think we both did.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Darnell just had his regular fro.
My normal shaved buzz cut I get every like week before school started. That was like the ritual I got. I got a buzz cut just shaved it off every week before school, and had like the GTA San Andreas bowl cut, or like the GTA San Andreas buzz cut. Like that was $5.
The $5 GTA buzz.
Yeah.
I just remember freshman year. Really, what stands out to me is Mr. Day's Spanish class.
I was just thinking of that.
Which was just wild for everyone involved for different reasons, I guess.
Man, let's talk about this. This is good.
You all definitely had
There's some beef. Maybe it's just me holding grudges, but I still got that beef.
There's some carne.
Man, it's like East Coast, West Coast beef.
It really, man, I don't know what it was. Like, it started off good, but I'm jumping ahead to end of Spanish before I go back to the current, what we were talking about currently. I failed Spanish completely. I had like a 58-48 F in there.
Really?
Dude, I failed it. I had to take Spanish twice.
Huh.
Yeah, I did too.
So, me and Darnell failed it. Me and Darnell had beef with Senor Day. And, I mean, I doubt he'll ever listen to this. But if he does, man, you're a terrible Spanish teacher, and I'm glad you got out of that field. And I hope you're doing something that you enjoy.
This is like Kleenex box, Real Housewives.
Keeping up with the Darweesians.
The Darweesians, yeah.
Darnell, were you still playing football freshman year?
Yeah, I was playing football then.
Hold up, I'm jumping. So, Spanish class. So, Ben, you had a pretty good experience, I do think.
Yeah, I mean, for me, number one, I was always the good student. Like,
your teacher's kid.
Yeah, I mean, I knew my mom would beat me with a rake if I didn't. No, I don't know. Like, for whatever reason, I just always found it easy to, if the teacher says do this, then I'll do it. And that's my way of like coping with the universe. As long as I just do A, B, C, then nothing's going to hurt and everything's going to be all right. But anyway, so I did well in Mr. Day's class, and I liked him. Like, he obviously wasn't like a great teacher, but I think for me, being like the kid with the bowl cut in freshman year of high school, like, he did have, I think, a few like ideas or like, like he'd been places, he'd been to Europe and all this stuff, studied abroad. And I don't know, I thought that was, that was just kind of like, not necessarily a role model, but it was like, you have to understand, like, in our high school, there just wasn't a lot of diversity like that of people who'd really, gone places or just kind of done different sorts of things. So I thought he was cool in that regard. I know I was probably in the minority. Like, I remember, like, there was this group of people in our grade unionized or whatever and brought the 95 theses of execution and death to Mr. Day at like some point freshman year or something.
Didn't they bring it to the principal at the time? They brought it to her first.
Yeah.
And then it got to him. Like, she kind of like, you know what? We don't want to make these parents mad because they're funding this school and we're the poorest school in the nation. So
I do think, I mean, so much of it was because he was gay. like I've obviously like I don't know. I just like looking back. Yeah, it just makes sense. A lot of people weren't really ready for that, or that's something that's easy to latch onto. Of course, there were other issues, but that's at least the way I saw it.
I would like to say this. Me and Darnell did not have any disagreements due to his sexual orientation. I honestly didn't know he was gay until like after he was done being our teacher.
Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah, it was like not common knowledge, but maybe sort of knowledge, but that's kind of neither here nor there. But yeah, Spanish class was, but really just that Spanish class. And of course, no one can take Spanish class seriously when you're a freshman in high school because, you know, you look up the word for penis in the Spanish dictionary. I remember doing that on the first day in class, like pene or whatever.
Now you've brought us to a good point. That man pissed me off so bad. I was a decent kid. Ben was straight A student. Me and Darnell kind of just coasted on BCD.
Yeah.
And but I never drew in a book or anything like that. But this man pissed me to my limits. So I drew a big old whopping peener in that Spanish 1 book. I caught it. I drew a little top hat on, a little beard. It was Penis Ham Lincoln.
I wonder if it's still there.
Oh, it has to be. I got that same book, Spanish 1, second time around.
Second time around.
And I had to act like, I didn't have this book before. I remember showing my dad. I was like, look, Dad, someone drew a massive dong in this book. But
Look, Dad.
I only drew the top hat. Later on, I admitted to the truth to my father, and he thought that was hilarious. He's like, yeah, I didn't think you just drew the top hat. Anyway, yeah, Spanish class, as much as I dislike the guy, I thought it was crappy that the union of mostly females, if I remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like, you know, there was like a crop of the usual suspects.
I guess it was like all the middle-aged, upper middle class to wealthy moms.
Yeah, I mean the ones whose moms could afford to care, you know?
Yeah.
Basically, they were all failing. No, they got caught cheating, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
They got caught cheating. I remember now. And they came up with that decree of why you're a bad teacher and why we're failing to the point that we had to cheat.
Yeah.
Dude, I took my F and went on.
Yeah.
Which that is something, I mean, about both you guys that I do admire, full homo, is like, I don't know, as I've gone through like college and stuff, like in high school and, you know, the whole thing, you run into people who can't just accept that they didn't do as well as they should have or could have or whatever. You know, there's always like some sort of excuse or they want to fight it somehow. But I feel like you guys, you know, like you put in the work that you did and whatever you got out, you just realized that it was probably more or less you got out what you put in. So
yeah,
that's how I feel.
I was a bad student. Like when there's something that I just didn't understand, I just shut down, man, and I'd take my F and go on. I wouldn't turn in, like, you know, some people they'd half-ass it and then turn in a worksheet that was half completed. Dude, if it was half completed, I wouldn't turn it in. I don't know, man. I guess I should have just went for that 50 instead of that 0. But back then it was like, if it's not done, this is worse than me turning in. But anyway, yeah, freshman year, that's probably the only significant memory.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know. I remember a lot more sophomore and junior year and senior year more than anything.
I remember slapping Darnell with a piece of cheese freshman year. I think that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that girl had the seizure.
Yes.
And yeah, I think I had. Well, I guess at that point they still done lunch detention, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I had lunch detention, so I wasn't there for that event.
But I thought you were there, Darnell, for that.
No, he wasn't there because
No.
we came back and he was in Donahue.
Yes, that's right.
And we
yes.
told him, and Darnell started laughing, and that one boy that was the friend with the girl, he's like, "Who's laughing? Is somebody laughing?"
Yeah, that was not funny, but also really funny. I mean, everything's funny when you're that age, but
Yeah, when you're young and dumb, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's like the way. I guess that's the way like you cope with serious stuff because like you get sent to the office or you get confronted by a teacher and you just start laughing or you just turn away and not look. It's just like a defense mechanism or coping mechanism, I guess.
Everything's a joke. That's the rule of comedy. Everything can be a joke, no matter how bad it is. I think that's what I've been going on thanks to my ex brother-in-law. Man, he kind of set me up that way. He impacted me a whole lot in my sense of humor.
Yeah, I guess it's like Anthony Jeselnik type.
Yeah, shout out
that
to
type of humor.
Sponsor us.
Yeah.
But
I do remember that day though, because I remember it was spaghetti day, and I would usually get like the 2 plates of spaghetti. But I remember I lost my appetite when the person across from us had the seizure, which I just remember that because I was looking forward to eating spaghetti so much, and then I just kind of didn't want to eat it anymore. Which of course, this person couldn't help that. That was really sad. And stuff.
I mean, as far as I know, they're doing fine now, though.
Yeah, I think it was. I think they just had epilepsy or something.
I think it was something.
They took medicine for it.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't like the biggest disaster in the world. I mean, that's coming from me who didn't suffer through it, but But anyway, I remember the spaghetti.
It's like when Darnell with a piece of cheese. Darnell felt that was the day Darnell felt betrayed. I could see it in his eyes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like like in like I guess the Edwardian era, where the women they would like carry like I guess a handkerchief or something to like wipe their face off or something. And I feel like, or no, like he took off his like white glove.
Yeah.
Slapped me with like disrespect in the fucking ballroom or something. Excuse my language, but
why do you betray? That was the first of many times.
that was the first and only time that
Ben slapped you with a piece of cheese. That was a day Darnell question for the 15th or 20th time. Why am I friends with these people?
I don't know. I still don't know.
I don't know. It's still like a defining moment of the era, though.
Yeah,
it really was. That's like Tom Brady getting traded to the Buccaneers. That was like that moment.
So, freshman year. We'll end on that note of freshman year being the cheese slap era.
Yeah, I
seizures.
Also one more. I do remember freshman year was when I got really terrible acne, and that. Sometimes I forget that I suffered through this, but other times I remember it. But I do remember because it made me really sad for a while because freshman year, that was kind of like that blossoming era of, maybe girls like me or thinking about girls and all that sort of stuff. And then right when you think you're going to jump into it, like, you get this like debilitating pox and you're just kind of out of commission. But eventually I couldn't really do anything about it. So I just kind of stopped caring. But yeah, that was for me a defining development of that time, I think. But since we're talking about personal defining developments, freshman year, I remember I'll make it quick. I remember near the end of the year, I was talking. I don't even remember, but we were Skyping. I was Skyping with this girl, and we were the same age, but we would talk all night. Just clear.
Her parents' rules were you're not allowed to have a boyfriend or whatever. And so you know what? We were quote unquote boyfriend and girlfriend on the internet, which is. Gosh, that's cringy. That is cringy.
No, I mean, yeah, it's cringe, but I feel like everyone in our generation, every lame idiot weirdo like us went through something like that. So.
No, I didn't, but
Okay. Darnell was the only reasonable person among us.
well, no, it's just like I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. I was just too concerned about other stuff to deal with women at that point in time. I guess
He was busy,
I was playing
diversifying
football and stuff and whatnot. So
he was grinding. Yeah.
But anyway, back to my story, and then we'll get back on to the next. But you're dumb and you're pumped full of hormones.
Young, dumb, and full of beep.
Yeah. So you're just like, oh, So there was some messages. It was like, from my memory, it was nothing terrible. It was just like kissing and stuff. But her mom found those messages. I hadn't heard from her in like 2-3 days, and I was like sweating. I was like, I wonder what's wrong with her. She didn't talk to me.
Her mom had killed her.
her mom. I called her house. I go, can I speak to her? And she's like, no, you cannot. I was like, may I ask why? I was being all proper. She goes, I saw you dirty messages with my daughter. And dude, my heart ran cold.
Dude, I would have.
My heart fell out of my butthole and hit the ground. And I was like, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I shouldn't have done that. That was disrespectful. And the whole time, I'm not mad that she found them or anything. I'm just like, oh my God, what if she tells my parents?
Yeah.
That was the only concern I had, was if she tells my parents, I'm so screwed. Mom, Dad, if you're listening to this now, oh my God, I'm sorry. But it was nothing terrible. But I was being told.
Dude, I remember you you were telling me about that, and I was like DEFCON 1.
Yeah, man.
Because I was like, his life's over. It's over.
Yeah, I remember being like really nervous on your behalf. Like, I was vicariously really nervous.
Gosh. Anyway, that was the defining. It was the ending of freshman year, and it was like, man. And then when my mom never brought it up. I grew up in a semi-strict household. I got in trouble for looking up Lil Wayne one time. I got grounded for like a week, aka 3 days. And but once it was never brought up to me. I remember talking to my sister about it. I was like, my sister was like, well, you better dig your grave.
You better dig your grave.
But it was all good. I had a good summer. And then sophomore year brings us to sophomore year. Sophomore year, I feel like that is probably I don't want to say peak of high school, because I met my wife. Well, I did meet my wife sophomore year. But sophomore year was the peak of the fun stuff of high school.
I'm trying to remember.
Because that's like when the youth group started, right?
Youth group started. My parents, was it? Yeah, it started out with my parents, and then Ben Turner. Shout out to, if you want to develop a relationship with God and believe in Jesus Christ, that is the man that you need to look to see the walk. He walks the walk. He doesn't just talk it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. It's like, I almost don't really even think about it a lot, because it's like Ben Turner is just like a part of my life now. But I guess now that you mention it, it is like a big paradigm shift almost. I don't know. Sophomore year, I don't remember a lot of it. I just remember it wasn't. Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Mr. Jenkins' science class, and when we made that cricket biome or whatever.
My God,
terrarium or something.
The terrarium of crickets, or like
that was terrible.
Rise of the Planet of the Crickets.
That was a cricket holocaust.
Cricket holocaust, and all the crickets kept dying. We just stuck them down the sink, and eventually it just smelled like napalm death.
We wanted to win for this, because I don't think it was anything. It was just like, I don't know, you just got bragging rights to your biodome lived out everybody else's.
Something wasn't right from the get-go, because
dude, it was your dirt.
Yes, I was about to say it was my dirt. I don't know what the deal is with the dirt on Ivy Hill, but the earth that I dug up, it was like had demon dust on it. I don't know. It was just really.
It didn't smell right, man.
Bad dirt. It didn't smell right. It was really soggy. It just wasn't. It was not ideal.
Those crickets could not survive in that for whatever reason, and it's your fault.
It is my fault. And
I mean, well, Isaiah was in it too, but I mean,
Isaiah was also.
He was just kind of there for moral support, I guess.
He was complicit in our mass murder of the crickets. But I remember when we finally dumped out the biomes or whatever. I remember dumping ours out, and like this evil steam just rose from the dirt. It was like evil gas. There was like a demonic face that rose with with a vapor cloud.
I remember seeing that.
But
Okay, since we're talking about Mr. Jenks' class, was that the same year with the girl that sat, diagonally from us, who was kind of, I don't know what drug she was on, but she was doing something?
it's on meth, wasn't it?
I guess it was
I don't
meth.
know. I mean, it's all meth to me.
Hell of a drug, kids. Southeastern Kentucky's eat up with it. But, yeah, that girl, she was wild. She would just stand up, randomly tie her shoe real quick. And, I don't know, it's startling when you're sitting in the back in complete silence.
She did have good reflexes. But.
They were talking about coyotes once, and she said, I remember she jumped up from her deep sleep, and she was like, I saw a coyote once.
Coyote.
Coyote once.
I saw a coyote once.
It was on a ketamine trip. But
Yeah.
she was something else. I mean, she added to the excitement of that class, which it was a good class.
Yeah, it's a pretty good class.
It was a good class. I mean, that maybe sticks out to me the most in sophomore year, really. I feel like sophomore year, not really that much happened. It was just kind of settling into the high school groove, maybe.
Yeah. You kind of started late on youth group. Like there was like 3 months or something where you weren't at the beginning of youth group.
Yeah, I think so.
Because originally it was like me, Jacob, and then Tyler, and then Trent, I guess, but right. That's like in like 8th grade. That was like when we went over, or I think Ben was there too when we went over to Eric and Hannah's house.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, I guess that was like when it actually started, I guess.
That was a different take on the youth group.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple of different shots at it, but yeah, sophomore year youth group was the one. It was like, this is high school. This is fun. This gives me something to do on, I guess it was Friday nights then.
Yeah.
Friday nights we'd go and learn about Christianity and have fun, go play tag and whatever games we were up to, and me chasing women still.
Yeah, man, you were the horn dog in high school, but
whoa.
No, I mean that's.
I don't know, man. I like girls. I had no malintentions.
I don't know, man. I like girls.
I don't know. It's just something about it.
I never had any, bad intentions sophomore year.
Everyone goes through that phase. But no, when I look back of like all the good things about growing up in Harlan, I think the youth group that's one of those things that I feel like they could put it in like a movie, and that would be just a great example of what like actually homegrown, meaningful small town community. And it almost sounds fake because it's like, wow, here's these kids who just get together for a church youth group of all things, and they just have the biggest blast with it, and they like actually enjoy it, and it's good for them. And
2012 to 2013.
Yeah.
Because like there's like too like we didn't need to do drugs or anything at all. We were just like high on life. That's like actually like the way I could describe it.
Yeah,
I smoked my first cigarillo sophomore year, thanks to Darnell.
I do. Yes, I did too. I remember that. So
That
things weren't so godly after all.
Yeah, those were pretty nasty.
You traded, Darnell, didn't you trade like a 5-pound bag of sunflower seeds to get those?
Yeah.
It was a good trade.
It was a trade with Nick Powers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a pretty good even trade.
I guess.
I don't know, man. He came up on top with the sunflower seeds.
I think he did, actually. But,
yeah, youth group, there's two things, I believe, in high school that was kind of the safe haven. Youth group and the lunch table.
The lunch table, yeah. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but not really even in a depressing sort of way. I just feel like I don't really laugh that way anymore, or as often. Like we did at the lunch table, for instance. Like, I just don't really laugh at stuff that much or that easily or just that often anymore. So I do miss it in that regard. Just every single day, just absolutely dying of laughter at the lunch table. But
I agree with that. There's something magical, man, about just being young and you ain't been hurt by the world and they haven't dimmed you down any.
Yeah.
You're not I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, shit. But I get what you're saying. Do that lunch table. So many great discussions. So, I mean, we had the whole crew there. I mean, you sat at that table. I remember that's kind of mine and Caleb's, I think maybe senior year. Yeah, mine and Caleb's relationship kind of developed more into a best friendship. Me and Caleb are best friends now because we would sit down on the other end of the table.
Yeah,
y'all would get all political because we didn't care that much.
We would have like our fake deep, or we thought they were deep at the time, but like, dude, politics and whatever else.
Man, I was thinking of our lunch table. There's people that's went on to do some great things. I mean, from the lunch table. Definitely not me. I just
no. I just the roster that was the lunch table again. Like, honestly, if you made a movie about it and put that in it, you would maybe think this lunch table group is maybe too good to be true.
It was like real life Sandlot.
Yeah, it was like honestly so diverse. We had the Chinese dude, we had the Mexican dude, we had the ginger, we had the neurotic filmmaker, we had. And Braxton listens to this. I mean, I love you, man.
Braxton's a genius.
You know your genius, and you know how you are. But we had Zach Hensley. Just all these people. It was
And
all in one place.
Steven.
Yeah, and
the legend himself.
The legend himself, Steven Anderson.
Steven Anderson is a legend. I mean, such a kind-hearted and humble man right there. And wild. Put into one.
Just as like a little aside, I just think it's so interesting how, like, just everyone's friendship arc with Steven. Because I remember being in middle school or like 7th and 8th grade, and I thought Steven was just like way too cool. He was just too cool for school.
I was scared of Steven. I thought he'd beat me up.
Yeah, I thought he was just.
Dude, like he was like real strong, dude. He like beat me up and like he got like done like a spine buster on me in football, like Triple H or something.
Yeah, and then we ended up being pretty good friends, being lunch table squad mates. So,
gosh,
that was.
It is a wild lunch table, man. That was fun. Does anybody remember the day of the food fight that almost broke out and the tension in there?
Yeah, I do remember that. That was.
Am I jumping ahead? Is that senior year?
I don't. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I feel like it was just lunch table is lunch table.
True.
I do remember that. I just remember. I don't know. One thing led to another, and there was just no one left supervising the lunchroom for some reason. Like Coach Shope or whatever walked out of the room. And there was just no one supervising, and then everyone slowly realized this, and then there was like small arms fire of like French fries and stuff. But it
small arms fire. Just
but,
lay down. Just lay down a spray at cover of like 50 cal French fry shells.
50 cal French fries. And did someone throw a hot dog? I can't remember, but
probably so. That sounds right.
Yeah, that's really all I remember from sophomore year, for the most part.
Oh yeah, we went to the Family Force 5 concert sophomore year.
Yeah, I remember that.
And we thought that our school was getting shot up because it popped.
That was the day of Sandy Hook, right?
Yes, the day of Sandy Hook, 2012. It was because there was a rumor that this boy was going to shoot up school. I didn't really believe that. I don't think any three of us believed it. And then me and Ben are in Lexington and Fayette Mall, and I plug up to Wi-Fi. I guess I can say plug up to Wi-Fi. Plugged up to Wi-Fi in the Fayette Mall, and it pops up, please remember the school shooting. And, dude, I was freaking out. I was like, oh, my God, they shot Darnell.
Yeah, because I was still there because I was in the library. I'm trying to think. I don't remember whose class it was, but we were in the library, and like we were that stuff was happening. We went like into like I guess like a kind of a sort of a lockdown type situation, but not like a, you know what I mean? It's just like a precautionary
like training lockdown or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Like I guess I don't know really why, but and it's like I was like, oh God, man. Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of ominous. Because remember it was 12. Remember the date 12/21/12?
Yeah.
When the thing was supposed to supposedly happen.
Yeah.
That was a wild year. I mean, not really wild year, but just a wild moment of, I really thought, I was so scared that Darnell was shot. And I was like, that's my best friend. And then to read at Sandy Hook, it was relief, but it's still, you're like, oh man, that's crazy.
Well, thank God it's them.
Wow. Wow, man.
No. I'm trying to remember I think this was a junior year story, so I don't really have anything more to add about sophomore year. It was...
Well, by the way, this is a comic relief. Like, everybody, like, especially like when you're like in like a sophomore or something, you like, I don't know, it's like you don't think about, you just think, oh, well, at least it didn't happen to me. But, even though like there's still like fear in the back of your mind, but you kind of just like dismiss it altogether to like cope with it, I guess. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Yeah. I understand that. Two last words in the book of sophomore. That was, I went to prom sophomore year. I got asked by a junior, which was my wife's best friend, unknowingly at that time. A junior. But I remember getting asked to prom, and I was like, I got to ask my parents because I don't know if we have the money right now. And she's like, okay. And dude, my mom was like, you're going to prom. That's awesome. Prom was awesome. I went with somebody that was cool, and it was just a fun night. And I met my wife at prom.
I met my wife
at prom. We did the last dance.
Yeah, the way you said it, just like she was already your wife, but you didn't meet her until then. It's like, yeah.
I didn't meet her till then. It was an arranged marriage. Yeah. But yeah, I met her there, had the last dance anyway. I had a blast of a night. I got invited to an after party that I was like, yeah, I'll totally be, and I couldn't because there's no way my parents would drive me to an after party.
Yeah.
Alcohol was going on. But I think I would say that's not, I felt like I was a cool kid. I was like, dang, I'm cool. I fit in. And I had the time of my life. But yeah, and then after that, See, summer started. The last day of school, I got a haircut. Mushroom gone. Mushroom gone. What happened?
Was this the birth of the Nazi youth haircut era? Or
This was the birth of that, and it was all because I wanted to look like a singer from a band, and I had my heart broken by a girl, and she liked my long hair, my mushroom hair, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. And I went and got it cut. She was so unhappy about it. And it was awesome. I kept the haircut for a long time. But anyway, sophomore year, close on that. Junior year.
Junior year. Man, what to say about junior year?
That was when the lunch table started developing even more.
I think junior year was like the climax, I think, honestly. Senior year was just like the strange, like you're just kind of riding the wave to the end. But I think junior year was when I feel like a lot of stuff happened. But
yeah, dude, that was like a defining year, I think, of high school was junior year, definitely.
yeah.
Junior year, me and Kelsey started dating. Because we started dating like the week after we started school. Like we were talking.
It was like because we started like around the 18th or something. And it was like the 20-something.
It was like
oddly, I remember that for some reason.
I remember this very well. And I remember we were walking back from lunch. I had noticed that you all had started spending some time together, which immediately I didn't like one bit. I was ready to Hulk out. Then one fateful day, you all just we were walking back from lunch and you all started walking together or something. And then that's when I knew that in my mind at the time, I was like, oh,
we started holding hands.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, it's all over.
Dude, this was 2013, right?
This was 2013.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Dude, it pissed off a lot of people in our friend group / youth group, and dude, it was wild. It came from left field. We hadn't talked to anybody about it. It was just me and her. I'd mentioned her to my parents, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, because there was remember when we went to this was just me and Jacob, but we went to Tyler's house.
Yep.
Up in Mary Alice, and I guess, and he invited Kelsey because I guess he was like the intermediate between you two.
Yeah.
And I was like, something's going on, but I was like, I don't know, man, I don't believe it. It's like, I was like, I don't know, man. I was in denial, and I was like, then it, come up, then school happened. We come back to school, and I was like, okay, and then it kind of confirmed my worst fear, but that's just like then.
My worst fear. Yeah,
I'm losing my friend to a girl.
But I think that year you didn't sit with us at the lunch table quite as much.
Let me say this: y'all moved lunch tables, and it was very clear.
It
was very clear. Y'all moved lunch tables, and we kind of sat where we were. She's like, why don't we sit over there with them? And I was like, this is just what we got to do right now.
Yeah, I think
this is the drama.
Yeah, it was drama, but in hindsight, it was always going to have to be that way. That's just one of those high school things. But yeah, that was that. What else happened junior year?
In general or personally?
I guess for me, I had an internet GF, and
you had her sophomore year, didn't you?
Yes, we started dating sophomore year, and that was really cringe. But like I said earlier, it's just you don't recognize it's cringe until years later when it's all over. But yeah, I had internet GF, and then we broke up, and I broke up with her in February of that year or something. But
:3.
Yeah, the :3 era between us was over. But
gosh,
I guess I'll just continue with this line of thought. But the monumental storyline of my junior year was honestly so I was dating this online GF, but IRL one of my classes, there was someone else that I guess I sort of had like a crush on or whatever. And
He's
like,
macking on.
yeah, but I mean, like, again, when you're this age, you just can't cope with reality. I could not cope, and like I just couldn't take it anymore. But really, in hindsight, I think not that I really should have flirted with this person or like this person. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know. I just feel like there's no substitute for like actually being around people, and maybe some people obviously make it work when the relationship primarily just consists of messaging and it's like Skyping and stuff. But if you have the choice between that, like actually being around someone, there's really no substitute. And I think my mom actually kind of psyoped me into doing this because, well, maybe not. It was maybe actually just me, but I remember it was my brother's birthday. This would have been February 8th, 2014. And my mom was like, you just gotta like live life to the fullest and not miss out on opportunities and just blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to dump my girlfriend. And then, so I guess it was the next day or a couple days later that I dumped my online girlfriend. And then that was like,
I remember that.
Yeah, that was, but
that was wild, man.
hijinks ensued. But I feel like when you're that age also, you kind of do things like that knowing that there's going to be drama because the drama is just kind of fun deep down,
Deep down, subconsciously, it's fun, and you're
it's
like,
exhilarating and it's fun.
Woo, people are mad at me. Woo.
Yeah.
Darnell, give us your take on junior year. Was there any moments that defined you? You said it was the peak, kind of, but generally speaking and personally, tell us a moment.
See.
Oh.
He's getting the load up in here.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, if like the defining moment of junior year for me would just be like going to prom.
Oh yes,
that would be that's like the moment of that whole era for me would be that, and then besides me and Ben, we were having an existential crisis too.
Let's talk about junior prom because this is some good juicy. Man.
This is the tea. This is the tea right here, folks.
This is the climax of high school right here. But anyway, continuing with where I left off, I guess. Where did I leave off with that part? But so it was the day after my brother's birthday, and I broke up with my online girlfriend, who I was supposed to go to prom with, obviously. Like, we had already set that up and everything. And I had already bought the prom tickets. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, I probably should have just gone to prom alone and just like danced with whoever and just kind of hung out. Now I realize that would have been the sensible thing to do, and I would have had probably more fun. But being 17 and unable to think beyond the next 15 minutes, I thought I really got to go to prom with someone. I needed a new date for prom. So I like panic asked all these people to go to prom. And then like, obviously most of them were like unavailable or didn't want to go, whatever. But this one girl who I knew from freshman year, not really even that well, said she would go. And then, so prom approached. So I was really crushing on this one girl that I had been crushing on for like most of the year that I already mentioned.
Did she have a boyfriend, Ben? That's just what I want to know.
I don't know.
She had a boyfriend.
Yeah, yes, whatever. I cannot tell a lie. But anyway, yeah. You got me. Meanwhile, it's like the week, Harlan County High School had their prom, and the girl I was going to go to the city school's prom with, she went with this other guy to the county school prom, and it looked like they were having like a great time and stuff. So I was like, okay, these people are like involved with each other somehow, like they're dating or something like that. So I don't really have to worry too much about, maybe it sounds callous, but just paying too much attention to this person at prom. Like, I'll do the whole like dance with them a few times and all that sort of stuff.
I remember you getting scared, Ben. I remember you getting scared once people were like, "Oh, she danced all night."
Yes, I had forgotten about that until you just mentioned that. Yeah, they were all like, "Man, she danced all night, man. You better be ready to like dance all night long." And I was like, "Oh." This kid, I couldn't cope with it. So anyway, prom rolled around, and it was the wrong thing to do, but I did what I did, and that was I danced with her a few times. But then this other person that I had this crush on, I kind of just chased after that person the rest of the night, like danced with him and stuff, which had its own moral, ethical considerations that surround it. But
oh God,
it was no big deal. It was just I had a crush on the person. I was. What did you say?
NBD.
It was NBD, honestly. But meanwhile, my actual prom date thought that we were actually like going to prom, like we were like going for real, and so she was obviously very upset. But I couldn't.
Such a disappointment you were.
It really speaks to like just how the human experience is so chaotic. It's like one person at prom was having the worst night ever. Meanwhile, another person who was me was like having a really great time during it. But anyway, that's what happened with me. And then I knew it was going terribly wrong, but I couldn't really stop myself because what could I do? I mean, what was I going to do?
You pulled it to the side. You asked, am I effing up right now? And I was like, yep, you're effing up. And you're like, okay. Did you make it?
I couldn't do it.
Just like, I was like there, and he's like, he's like, yeah. And he's just like, okay, then. And he just like went back like nothing happened.
Spoon walked to the dance floor. Okay.
I realized what I should and shouldn't have done, but also like, what was I supposed to do? I couldn't help it. Like, why does anyone do anything wrong?
So sum that up. Your date had a terrible time because you guys had miscommunication of.
Well, I mean, it was all my fault, really.
Absolutely.
So,
bitch.
let that just be clear. So,
should I like tell mine or something?
Yes,
absolutely, Darnell. So Darnell, tell us about from the moment that you were going to prom, you acquired your date, and then so forth.
Okay, so I was like, at first I was like, I'm not going to go to prom because at this point I'd never been. I think I'd been to like one dance my whole life in fourth grade, and I was like, well, I'm not going to this because I can't do it because of like social anxiety. And then my friend Tyler messaged me and he said somebody has a question for you, and I was like, well, where is this going? I was like, okay, it's like probably somebody wants to go to prom or something. And I was like, okay, well, I'll probably just go just to go. And might as well at this point if somebody else is asking me because I wasn't going to ask anybody because I didn't have the fortitude to do it. And he said it was a girl that was in our youth group. It was actually the younger sister of another girl that was in the youth group that was in the same grade as us. And I think she was like a freshman, I believe, at that point.
I think she was freshman.
Yeah. And only juniors and seniors could go to prom at that point. So she was like, would you take me? And I was like, and I told Tyler, I said, yeah, I'll take her. And so by this point, Jacob had met his future wife, and the sisters were kind of mad at Jacob for doing the making the decision that he made. But
I betrayed a friendship.
He betrayed a friendship between two sisters.
Which I think, quick on that note, I think I didn't handle things like I should have. I mean, like we said, we do things that are dumb back then. But I came out of left field, and I guess there were some emotions that they thought were there for them, for me, that wasn't really there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's that history there.
Yeah, kind of the same thing that Ben was going through, but it came from two people instead of one, so it was kind of worse.
You had it arguably worse, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so I go get my tux and stuff and match the vest to the color of her dress, and
the vest to the color.
And so the problem was the main problem was I didn't know what to do the whole time at prom. Like, I didn't dance with her once. I just kind of sit there. Like, I didn't know what to do, to be honest. Yeah. Like, if I would have known better, like, I would have, but like I said, like, you're a sheltered, lonely child from like Denver, so you don't know what's going on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, that's so funny. I don't know if you know this, but her and Kelsey kind of had, she didn't like Kelsey because of me, and Kelsey didn't like her because things she said. But anyway, she messaged Kelsey and asked her, like, hey, I don't think Darnell knows what he's doing. I don't think he's put us down for tables. I don't think he's ordered flowers yet or anything. And I remember Kelsey saying, that's how he is. You might just have to just push a little bit and tell him what you want and what you need.
Yeah, and I did. I come through, and because like I'm just not an initiative taker. I don't push the envelope unless I have to, or or if it's needed. But anyway, I'm just she messaged me like I'd say 2-3 hours before prom because because you got to take pictures before that. So I go up to Camp Blanton, put all my stuff on, go up there, take pictures. Then we like assemble over at the prom, and we're outside talking, taking pictures. And I'm like, what have I got myself into? And
I want these pictures, by the way. If you got copies of them, send them to me because I need these hanging up in my house.
They should be still. I think they're still on Facebook, to be honest.
I'll find them and I'll print one, big one.
And so. And there's a senior girl that I would help out with U.S. history, and basically, this woman was like a Greek goddess of some sort, like a 4'8" Greek goddess. But anyway, but I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I was captivated with this woman or girl at the time. And
dude,
I guess you could say the highlight of my night was I danced with that girl and to a country song. I don't remember what the song was. Anyway, I felt like I was on top of the world. But then and then all this, and I just didn't dance with her at all. She kind of just went off with her sisters, group of friends, and I guess Ben's date was with them as well, so they were just kind of this disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised over there.
Yeah, it was like this disenfranchised prom table. and
we were part of the patriarchy.
Yeah, and to make things worse, we had to go back to the church to have we had a youth group after party, and that was kind of the most awkward time of my life because I knew that I'd messed up and bent. Did she go? Did your date go over there too?
Yeah, they were all there.
Dude, it was just bad. Man. It was just bad, dude. I don't know, man. That's just like the defining of the era for me. But I don't know I think Jacob's experience was pretty good.
Dude, I went to prom 3 times. Had a blast 3 times. I don't know, man. I love prom. I don't know. But further, go back a little. When that girl came to get Darnell to dance, that Darnell was kind of infatuated with and worshipped, it was like a spotlight hit her, and you just saw her making her way to Darnell. And I remember my face, everything's going slow motion, and my face
Brightside starts swinging.
My face just went, wide, like it was a mile wide, my smile. Because I was like, yes, this is the moment. This is the moment of Darnell's life right here.
Yeah, dude, I had palpitations. I mean, I had the anxiety. Had the anxiety chubby boy sweats. And man, it's just, I don't know, man. I feel like somebody lit off a Roman candle in my stomach, man. It's crazy, dude. But yeah, I definitely did mess up on prom now. Getting back to reality.
Yeah, it was good. Junior year, I'll backpedal before prom and stuff. But junior year, I was a man in love with my then girlfriend, now wife, and still like having all these emotions that were just kind of, man, I was a loose cannon. I felt an emotion. I felt it strong. I felt it hard, and I felt it right then and there, and I had to act on it. But there was times where I was angry, man.
Yeah.
I kept quite a few scars in high school.
Yeah, I mean,
threatened a whole lot of boys.
Again, I feel like when you're that age, I do think you maybe have that trait a bit more than some of the rest of us. But I mean, you're what? You're like 17 years old. Like, what else are you going to think, really?
Yeah, man. That's just. I won't get into specifics in this episode. Maybe in a future
subscribe
episode.
to our premium Patreon for the deleted scenes of
deleted scenes and Darnell taking a bath.
X-rated, yeah. Foot pics of Darnell eating a zebra cake roll. Anyway,
but yeah, junior year was me kind of maturing, and dude, that when you're in a relationship where you're both young, you're in high school. Oh man, it's great, but both developing maturity, and you're just, oh dude, it's terrible. You're going through growing pains on a daily basis of, oh, we're serious, and then you got high school BS going on. Yeah, junior year was just kind of like I was the crazy guy, and I think there's probably them guys out there still that's like, oh yeah, and he was a nut, and I apologize to probably half of them. The other half, you can still get it.
Yeah.
Catch this fade, son.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. Some people are just more like, I guess I wouldn't even call it like madness. I'd just say like passionate about, like, I mean, plus too, I guess that was like your first like real, that was like your like first serious actually relationship. Person. And you kind of went back and forth with the other person we won't mention. And it's like, well, since I have somebody that actually likes me, I like them, I'm going to like protect it at all costs. You know what I mean? I think it was like that kind of mentality.
I've never really thought of it like that, but.
And you kind of, to me, like you're still kind of that, like you're like ride or die still to this day with Kelsey. So, I mean, that's just the way you are. That's the way I saw it.
Dang, I've never really thought of it that way, but I appreciate that. That means a lot to me, good or bad. But yeah, junior year was something. It was just a whole lot of change going on. Now, senior year.
Oh, man.
Senior year was, my wife, she was a grade above us, so she had graduated. She's working at Walmart. Senior year, I was kind of done with high school. I was just like, I'm ready to get out of here and start my life with her. And yeah, we all were, I do believe. I think our class was just so gloomy. There was no, I don't remember having like a great time with everybody. Like nobody had any problems with each other in our grade.
No.
But
I don't know. It kind of feels like there were like two different types of crowds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ben could probably elaborate more on it.
No, I mean, there were definitely different like groups, but I feel like if anything, our friend group was the most guilty of being cliquey.
Dude, we said we never wanted to be the guy standing in the hallway being loud and just being right beside your mom's door, and we became that.
There's nothing wrong with it. It was just
everything was wrong with it.
No,
no, I don't know. We were different though. We weren't like we didn't like bully people, or you know what I mean. we were just like we were in our own world,
Just
but
obnoxious.
we didn't try to tear people down at the same time. We were just doing our own thing.
I feel like I feel like everyone more or less got along. I just feel like a lot of people were just kind of depressed about school senior year for whatever reason.
Everybody was just ready to be out of there.
Like none of the seniors wanted to go to prom because I remember they had that whole prom intervention where they were like, "Why aren't you going to prom?" No.
Yeah, I remember that. Like even like the teachers were like, getting on to us about it. Well, me and Ben, I guess more so Ben than anybody.
I remember Miss Fryer once. They held the intervention. She was like, "Ben, tell me why you aren't going to prom and don't give me a smart ass answer," which is a perfectly reasonable thing for her to say because I maybe had a bit of like attitude back then. But
yeah, you was having some tood. I remember that day specifically. You had some tood. He was like, "I just don't want to."
Well, but I mean, that was also true. I mean, I didn't have, I just didn't really want to go. Also, like money was kind of tight in my family. I mean, there were 100 reasons, but yeah. But anyway,
nobody wanted to be there. We was all ready to go to college or get on with our lives and not be at school. We were all, I don't know. I felt a lot of people were mature in our grade. We were just done being treated like kids.
Yeah, I remember, at least personally, there were some pretty good times senior year. I think for me personally, that was one of the better times in my youth of like in terms of relationship with you guys and even my family, because like money was really tight, and I remember it became not so much about having things but more just relationships with people like the youth group and that whole sort of thing. So that was the good part for me, I think, but there were also obviously like worse parts.
Senior year, I don't remember. I remember starting out, I was like, I'm going to go to every football game because my mom kind of encouraged me. She was like, you need to go to all the sports. This is your senior year. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then it kind of came, and I was like, I don't think I went to a single sporting event.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm ready to be done with this. My girlfriend's working a job. I'm ready to get out of here. I started working at Dairy Queen. Oh, that's another time, but briefly.
You guys could do a whole podcast just about working at Dairy Queen.
We really could, honestly.
I mean, we will. We'll do an episode soon because there's so many wild stories there and characters. But yeah, me and Ben at some point worked at Dairy Queen together.
I feel like we have to mention senior year, the day that will live in infamy, the day that my mom broke her leg, like the day before Thanksgiving or whatever.
I'm sorry.
Really
sorry, Miss Jones, if you heard my laugh.
She won't listen to this.
She might. Ben, you tell that story comically, and it is kind of funny now.
No, it was. I mean, I think everyone can chuckle about it now. I chuckled about it then, as everyone did. But well, I mean, I was already pretty emo senior year in a lot of ways. So I remember just kind of sitting in my room one late November afternoon, and then I just hear, like, from across the hill, which I live on a big hill, so I hear a whoa. I thought the Flying Dutchman had come to collect his fee or whatever. But so I was kind of like, well, what was that? So I walked down into the living room and I saw my dad, I think the first and only time in my life, run. Which my dad he's not built for running. He wears like boots and stuff. He's not going to run. There's no reason for him to run.
For walking.
These boots are made for walking, not running. But I saw him run down the hill, and then that's when I knew that the turkey wasn't going to taste the same this year. So I ran out there, and my mom. Yeah, my mom had broken her wishbone. She had broken her ankle or like the bottom part of her leg, and that was that. So she didn't work. She didn't teach us for pretty much the rest of the year.
dude, and we
Pretty
had
much.
Doyle.
And then we had the substitute, Mr. Doyle, which was super fun. But
Doyle was awesome. Doyle is excellent.
yeah, I don't know. I remember that being. It's weird to look back now when you have so much more freedom as a pretty adult person, like driving your own car now and stuff. But I remember being embarrassed when we only had one car, and my dad would have to drop me and my mom off in front of the school when she was on crutches, and I would. It's kind of sad now, but I would try to walk like ahead of my mom because I didn't really want to be like with my mom while she hobbled in on crutches, being let out of the truck by my dad. But yeah, it was
just a jerk, man.
I was a terrible kid.
Any significant moments you remember of senior year, Darnell?
I'm trying to think. There was something. Oh yeah. I guess like the couple of moments would be from senior year that were kind of defining for me were we would have like the youth group, like I guess we would have like a youth group summit at Jacob's house, Jacob Chen's house.
Yes.
Those were like some good times for me. Like that's like I remember those still to this day.
Those are great times. Anytime at Chen's was a blast. It was another safe haven.
Yeah, it was like youth group 2.0, but it was like the restrictions were off.
Yeah, it was the raunchier youth group. Not that anything raunchy even happened. It was just
it did.
Swearing was more loud, but
yeah, it was fun, man. You let loose there. You just play video games all night, drink a bunch of soda. I remember Darnell getting in trouble for having an energy drink at Chen's house.
He got in trouble.
Yeah, Joyce, his mom didn't like it. She does not like energy drinks. And she saw it in the fridge, and she's like, "Whose is that?"
Darnell's mom saw this.
No, Chen's mom.
Why does Joyce not like energy drinks?
I don't know, man. People got preference.
I mean, she liked the aloe drink, though.
I mean,
dude, the mallow drinks are delicious.
Yeah.
Anyway, senior year, that's something else. Everybody was done. Everybody.
Do you remember like the rehearsal, the graduation rehearsal? That was a pretty. There's like this big church in downtown Harlan where the school was located, and I believe we like practiced graduation like 2 days maybe or 1 day, but
yeah, 1 or 2.
But anyway, like at this point, it was like 5 or 6 days left of school. Everybody was like, it was literally like nobody cared. It was over. We were just ready to, to walk down the steps like Scarlett O'Hara and kick our boots and go out with a bang and hear the school song and leave. And I don't know, it's like it's kind of like the final moment of like everybody was like done with it, because remember when like Tanner or something, he was like joking or something.
He was twerking. He was acting like he was twerking. And, I mean, everybody, we were just, laughing. We were all giddy, ready to get out of there. Graduation was the next day. And there was this, what would you even call her? She was a teacher.
A special ed teacher, I believe.
She was a special ed teacher. But she was kind of, I don't even know why she was with us, because, yeah, she kind of got on. She's, hey, this is a church. And it just ruined the whole mood when she did that.
Will live in infamy for the rest of
it was. It was like nobody's being sexually conflicted here at the church of Tanner twerking.
Yeah, those were strange days. Like those last weeks of school.
Yeah,
everyone was just like in a fever of hormones and angst, and it's interesting to look back on now, because obviously life goes on and stuff, and you thought, oh my god, like this is the end of an era, and now you're just like, well, that was
that was that
and that was this.
I feel like it's a parting message Man, life really does go on. High school is not the end by any means. So
it's only the purgatory of your puberty.
Yeah, I mean, you can look back fondly on high school, and I guess for some people it really is like the best time, and there's nothing wrong with that in itself, I guess. But yeah, that was that.
That's a solid note to leave off on. We would like to thank you all for tuning in and giving us another shot. If you made it from episode 1 to episode 2, hopefully there's some improvement going on from each episode. Until the next one.